Hello and welcome to October. My name is Lynette Clement and I am reading from the For the Love of Relationships section in the Love Exquisite Magazine October 2020 issue, available at loveexquisite.com. Make sure you vote next month, November the 3rd. That is also in the magazine. And in the magazine, you will find information on polling places, information on the candidates. So a lot of times people don't vote because I got sidetracked. So as you know, these are unedited. So where my mind goes, that's what I'm going to give you. So my mind went from the love of relationship to voting. However, in the magazine for October 2020. Please read it. It's free, it's online, it's available for everyone. So we educate to elevate here. So if you don't know who the candidates are that you're voting for, because you're not just voting for the president, you're voting also for the attorney general, you're also voting for the House of Representatives in this November election, among other things. So make sure that you vote. So make sure that you read the magazine, because in the magazine, it will give you information on the candidates, at least the ones in Pennsylvania. And it'll give you a link. If you're not in Pennsylvania, it'll give you a link to find out about the candidates within your state and information about your polling places. So knowledge is power. So make sure that you utilize that information that I provide to you for free. There's no excuses. We want you to get out there and exercise your right to vote. Okay. Now, back to For the Love of Relationship section. I'm reading External Interferences. So, external interferences. Too often, we listen to those external voices that tell us how we should live our lives and what decisions we should make. If we are not careful, we could end up living the life that someone else wants us to live and not the life that we want to live. People will tell you to leave someone. People will tell you to stay with someone. People will tell you not to get involved with someone. And people will tell you how much we should allow them to interfere in our lives. However, you are the only person who has to live with the decisions that you make. So I'm going to read that again because that's important. You are the only person that has to live with the decisions that you make, not the person telling you what to do. Pay attention to external interferences, because not all advice is good advice, and not everyone has your best interest at heart. Sometimes in a marital situation, in-laws can try to interfere in your relationship by telling you what you should and shouldn't do. Find out where the information is coming from, meaning, are there selfish motives behind their suggestions? Does the person want you all to themselves? Is the information given out of love, or is it given out of anger? Remember, you are the one who has to live with your decisions. So I'm not saying that you don't listen to what other people have to say. I'm just saying take it with a grain of salt, because I'll keep going and I'll explain to you a little bit later. So even our friends tell us, don't mess with him, or he's a heartbreaker, he's messy, she's a gold digger, she has too many children, he has too many children. She is not really your type. I don't picture you with this person, or he's not your type. Or why would you be with somebody like him? Or I would never do this, or I would never do that. So it is okay to listen to advice, meaning to hear it. But don't always take advice from a non-professional, licensed professional that gets paid to give advice. So even professionals will not tell you what to do. So that's important. So your friends and your family will tell you what to do. But professionals will not tell you what to do. What he or she will do is communicate with you in a way that leads you in the direction to making your own decisions. So what they will do is communicate with you until you come up with your own solution. So if you've ever been to therapy, you recognize that They might ask you the right questions to steer you towards their preferred solution, so you come up with how to resolve your own problems. So in a marital situation, two becomes one. So the best people to resolve relationship issues are the two people in the relationship. So don't get caught up in listening to other people outside of your relationship. Do not get caught up listening to people who don't live with you, who don't know the ins and outs of everything that you and your significant other go through. When two people are in a relationship, and they cannot resolve the issues themselves, instead of seeking advice from your friends and family, seek a professional. Seek advice from a professional. But first, go to the direct source. Go to the person that you are in conflict with. So when you go to this person or people, you have a honest and open conversation about what is going on and how to resolve it. And when you can't resolve it, that's when you seek out professional help. So in every issue of the Love Exquisite magazine, I offer up some great advice and suggestions on how to maintain and or achieve a healthy relationship. However, you also should not consider my advice as a one size fits all approach, which is why I include that in everything that I write. I always say that you always do what's best. At the end of the day, you always do what works best for you and your household. I am not in your household. I just offer you advice based on my own life experiences and the experiences that I have witnessed through vicariously watching others. So, but I don't know your whole story. I'm not in your house. And it's easy for someone outside of the relationship to tell you what you should do in it. It's easy for me or someone else to say, oh, you should leave that person, when we don't share the same love that you have for that person. So everything is not always as cut and dry and as easy as it may seem, which is why you should seek out the professional help when needed. Now, in the event that you do seek out professional help, it's also important to be honest about everything that's going on if you want to get the best advice. That's the only way that you can get the best advice, is when you are honest about what's really going on. So I have the authority to provide you with the information based upon my own life experiences. My educational background is in psychology and education, as well as from my extensive research that I have done in those areas. But because you are the only person who can live your life, it is extremely beneficial to seek professional help when needed. I also include professional resource in the magazine as well when I offer advice. It is always wise to listen. It isn't always wise to listen to external interferences. So I'm gonna say that again. It is not always wise to listen to external interference, especially when you are unsure of their motive. A miserable single parent or miserable friend might tell you to leave your relationship so that they can have more of your time, so that you can follow their agenda and what they have intended for their selfish gains. So an envious friend or family member can tell you to leave your relationship because they don't want you to be happy if they're not happy, or because he or she wants what you have. So you have to figure out what's driving your advice. What is the method behind it? A relationship blogger might even convince you of what you should and shouldn't do, or what you should and shouldn't put up with. But you also have to ask them about their past relationship experiences to fully understand why their stance is the way that it is, why their viewpoint is the way it is, because they could be projecting onto you what happened to them, which is not always applicable to every relationship type situation. So which is why everyone who offers advice should say at the end of the message, do what is best for you and your household. You have to do the work. the work of finding out what is going on within your own relationship. For those of you who are external interferences, unless you are saving someone's life, mind your own business. Mind your own business. Nobody died and made you their savior. So mind your own business. Unless they ask you for your advice, don't offer it up. Everyone who smiles in your face does not always have your best interests at heart. That's important to know. So we all have assignments. And if you interfere with the assignment, the person will not learn the lesson that the assignment is trying to teach them. So although we might think that we're saving someone, God puts people in position in place to teach us life lessons. So if you're interfering with those lessons, that person will never learn how to be and do better. So if you experience external interference in your relationship and you do not know how to approach that person or the situation, seek professional counsel. Don't let anyone come in between you and what God has ordained for you. So one of the resources for counsel is the Counsel for Relationships, which I list there a link to their website in the magazine. So it is extremely important if you have a mother-in-law who's constantly in your relationship and telling you what you shouldn't do. If you have a father-in-law in your relationship, if you have a friend, if you have a colleague that is constantly in your relationship, be mindful that they do not know everything, because if you're honest with yourself, you have not disclosed everything, absolutely everything to them. So you can only take their advice. You cannot take their advice into consideration when you have not fully disclosed everything, your entire situation and circumstance. And because everybody does things differently. So what works for one person might not work for the other person. So at the end of the day, again, you have to do what is best for you and your household. So that is in the For the Love of Relationship section of the Love Exquisite Magazine, the October 2020 issue, and it's titled External Interferences. So all those external interferences, mind your business. And all of the y'all that's listening to that chatty patties and whatever else you want to call them, all of those that are listening and succumbing to that, and they're causing trouble and problems, more problems in your relationship, they're not helping you work towards a resolve, stop listening and seek out a professional. And that's it. So I come in peace. I go in peace. I come in peace. I go in peace. God bless you and your relationships.